So this is my webcomic Space Bestie that I started posting in 2023, September 2023, after a bout of just utter failure to exist in the world as an adult. And so I said, whatever, I've waited all this time, I'm just gonna make a comic because that was on my list of things that I always wanted to do. And now in 2026, we have reached the final season of it. And I just decided, why not take a little look back, do a little critiquing, do a little review, maybe a little something. So as I open the prologue to read it, I see that a lot of things have changed. Mainly this guy is one of those things have changed. He looks like he's a good 50, 60 years old. And I don't remember ever establishing that, deciding he was that old. Now when I draw him, I'm thinking like 30, late 30s, mid 40s, like 39, 45 years old, maybe going to 50, but this dude looks like he's been through the ringer, and why is he so tan? Yeah, that's a big change. And also, I feel like I've gotten better at drawing men a little bit. He looks a little funny. Look at his neck and his shoulders looking a little wild there, but it's fine. The mom's design didn't change much, but I don't draw her with as much detail anymore. I don't know why. My brain just stopped being interested in her as a character, as a person. The rest of these panels look fine. They're kind of messy, which is to be expected because I was just starting this and I didn't really know what I was doing, where I was going with it, but I just went with it. These speech bubbles, though, are killing me. Why are they so big?
That's what she said.
In the beginning, there's some stuff that it was my goal to establish. I don't know if I established it because I wasn't really sure about that goal. For example, the mom character, I wasn't sure what her deal was going to be 100%, so I just went with the over-controlling, maybe overbearing mom who wants all these things to happen and the kid's not for it, and a gifted kid who's like had their whole life decided for them is maybe rebelling a little bit. That's the kind of subtle dynamic that I was going for. And it's changed a little bit with some of the things that I decided to solidify currently, but I don't know. As I read this beginning, I'm like, wow, her mom's like a little excitable right now, but it kind of works for the cover, so I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna say it's fine, even though it's weird. Because the thing is, if you're pretending to be something you're not, then it makes sense. And then people like Chelsea, she's just that friend that you have by proximity. You don't like them, you don't hate them, you don't dislike them. You invite them to your birthday party because they're in your class. They're disposable. Well, not disposable as a person, but disposable in your life. That's what she is. That's what she was to me. And she still is. She hasn't had any lore changes like the mom has. I don't want to spoil anything, so it's hard to talk about this because it's not done yet, but yeah. And as for Venus, I was stuck for a while on how stoic to go with her, because obviously a person isn't laughing all the time. Sometimes you're just existing in your space. It doesn't mean you don't have emotions. And so I went back and forth on that, on whether she needs to be a character like that one guy. You know that guy Yuki from Fruits Baskets? More of a gentle type of stoic, not the brooding type that's like suffering all the time like Don Draper or something. Although I guess Yuki was suffering too, but in a different way. His coping mechanisms weren't as self-destructive as some other characters, but yeah. With this comment that I got on the bottom that they said, I'm so confused. Girl, me too, because the transitions were a little crazy, the way everything was mashed together. I think if I did this again, I would separate it. Like, I wouldn't go for the 40 panels just because what needs to happen in the beginning, it was like 3 different sections, so the setting kept changing, and so I can see how that would definitely be confusing or overwhelming when you don't have context yet. Like, we just got here, you know? So that's one thing to make better. Now the next few episodes are basically introducing Santa and trying to get their dynamic down. My initial intention was to have her be like this impulsive person who doesn't really think through their decisions, just goes with the first solution to a problem that they can think of, and maybe is all for new experiences, whether it's gonna end badly or not. It doesn't matter. Just new thing to try. Sure, I'll do it. I'm gonna die. That's fine. That type of mentality where you're just doing whatever. But I also wanted to introduce the slightly dark side, like foreshadowing a little bit. We don't get into it until like way later, but you know, you gotta hint at these things. You give the people a little something to chew on, which is why I decided to write that cringe little song and do those dreamy visuals that are all flowy and stuff, with the deep blues and the contrasting yellow with the monster in the background that's like a metaphor for something. Again, spoilers, but yeah. So the page that I'm going to try to fix today, I decided is this one because I like it, but also it's kind of janky. The floating panel is on top of these tree things, and I don't know, it's like a tangent here, and it doesn't even have a background in it. And then we've got these people back here that have next to no detail at all. I mean, it's fine, but it doesn't match what I feel like the current capability and aesthetic is. And also, this was before I changed the color palette. Xana's hair is really saturated right here, so we should probably adjust that too. These speech bubbles are still horrible. I don't know if I fixed them in the webtoon version or not, but yeah, we're gonna do that too. And I'm also gonna change the dialogue because I remember I wanted to rewrite this part anyway, so let's get into it. So what I decided to change for this page is the reaction, the context to them crashing on this planet, because that's what happened literally the episode chapter before this. They were flying around in space and it was an engine malfunction and they crashed. And first when I did this, I decided to make this the first fight chapter, because that's usually what happens in these types of stories. When you first meet someone and they're different from you, you try to get along, inevitably something happens that starts an argument, right? And I'm still fine with that, but in doing that, I feel like I've also forgot the other part of this character, which is someone who's never been outside of their hometown, never traveled, experienced like all these new things. So I feel like we also need to acknowledge the majesty that is nature in a new place, because if you walk into the woods right now, like during the springtime and the wind's blowing, you see all the trees bellowing and the sunlight coming through the leaves, like that's beautiful. And so that's kind of what we want to bring back here a little bit. Like, they can still fight about it, but we need to remember that this is a wanted experience also, not just an annoyance. So the idea for this planet, I don't really remember how it came about, but I think it started as an illustration. I have like this painting here to show you, and I just wanted to see if I could create a world that is like our own, but not the same, like different colors, maybe some stuff bigger than others, just to test the field out, because it's my first attempt to world build and like try to actually make it a project and not just spitballing, doing a one-off, posting it and then forgetting it ever existed. And around this time, well, for a few years actually, I had a Jurassic Park obsession. And so, you know, in Jurassic Park, they're always running through these old woods with big trees and foliage and stuff, running away from a monster. And then that led to me wanting to go a little bit more horror vibes towards the end of this arc with the monster that they end up having to run from. And it's like a dinosaur, plant, fungus, mushroom thing. And so the idea behind this planet's cycles, the time cycles, it's kind of like those places on Earth where they don't get a whole lot of sun, or when they do get sun, it's only for 3 hours a day. It's really just overcast a lot of the time. If the sun is out, it's not super bright in summer. And so that's how these plants in this world live. They feed off the little light that they can get during the day cycle, and then when night comes, they can wake up and they can chill. some of them come to life, and that's what the dinosaur fungi monster is. It has very small flowery hands, so when it's daytime it doesn't really get that much food. Everybody else is big, these tall big trees are creating all this shade. He can't get his food, so at nighttime when everybody else is chilling, they're just sitting around the campfire talking it up, he has to go hunt for things to eat, people to eat maybe, because he's not a herbivore. He's got to get some meat. So that is why he is going through the forest in the nighttime and hunting people. And it is also why that very strange child comments to them on the bench as a warning. So that's all I wanted to do today, is revisit some older content and some older pages. Let me know if this type of video interests you, one where I'm analyzing my own comic and going through my thought process and designing process, because I was thinking about doing some character design videos and maybe some visual development later. Space Besties updates every Friday on Webtoons right now, and I'm gonna start posting on Namikami as well. I've been slacking a little bit, and I think there's some pages on Global Comics too. I don't know if I deleted it or not, because I was thinking about leaving there, but I don't remember if I actually did. And if you do get into reading it and you want to read early updates, I made a Patreon for that as well. Have a nice day, and hopefully I'll see you soon, because I have not been consistently making videos. Bye!